Alexandr Shkudun. Gods are people too.
Dad. Hey, Dad.
10-year-old Daniel ran up to his father, who was working at his desk, and tugged on his sleeve. The father replied absent-mindedly, chewing on the arm of his glasses while peering into a folder.
When I grow up, I want to be just like you,
the boy announced proudly, puffing out his chest and trying to look as serious as his child's face would allow.
Dad, I want to be a boss too and tell people what to do. It looks so exciting. Everyone listens to you, respects you, gives you gifts.
Son, I have a lot of work to do. Let's talk later, okay?
The father said without looking up from his papers.
Go do something. Read a book.
No, I don't want to.
Daniel frowned.
Dad, is it hard to be a boss?
Lena.
The man, known as Dad, leaned back in his chair and turned his head toward the kitchen.
Yes, darling,
came the reply from his wife.
Can you play with Daniil, please? I don't have time right now. Still so much to get done.
At the doorway appeared a charming blonde woman in an apron. She slowly walked over to her son and crouched down in front of him.
Sweetheart, can't you see Dad's busy? He can't talk right now.
He's always busy,
the boy exclaimed, his voice on the verge of tears. Lena shot a glance at her husband, as if to underline their son's words. The man let out a heavy sigh, resigning himself to the inevitable. He rubbed his already red, tired eyes and set his glasses aside.
All right, I think I can spare a few minutes for my boy.
If just a moment ago Daniel looked like he might cry, the narrator might have said, now it wasn't even clear whether he'd been pretending or was truly hurt.
So what do you want to know?
His father asked, settling into a more comfortable position and folding his hands in front of him.
Tell me about your job, Dad.
The father glanced toward the kitchen, but his wife only shrugged.
Well, son, that would take a long time to explain. Wouldn't you rather I tell you what cartoons are on tomorrow?
Daniel shook his head firmly.
Why can't you be like other kids? They play with their toys and let their parents work, but you're always full of questions. Why this, why that?
Daniel didn't react to the father's self-directed rant. He simply kept looking at him, attentively.
Who am I even complaining to?
The man muttered. His wife shook a warning finger at him from the kitchen and went back to preparing dinner. Shifting a bit in his chair, the father finally got comfortable and, realizing he wouldn't be getting back to work anytime soon, began.
As you know, in this world, there are subordinates and there are leaders. Some are good at following orders, others at giving them. But more importantly, to manage people effectively and achieve great results, you have to know a lot and understand just about everything in life. Without that, unfortunately, success won't come to you.
Daniel sat cross-legged on the poof his mother had thoughtfully brought earlier. He rested his chin on his fist, mimicking the serious pose of characters in movies.
Some people are just born to follow. If you put them in charge, they'll eventually crack under the pressure. It's much easier for them to live without overthinking things, simply completing the tasks given by someone higher up. It's way easier than making decisions that can change other people's lives and bearing the immense responsibility that comes with it. Am I making sense?
Daniel nodded. He was a smart kid. Even if he didn't know every word, he grasped the meaning behind what was being said.
My job is exactly that, to lead people, to set goals, assign tasks, guide them in the right direction, and of course to supervise.
And do you manage it?
The boy asked, a flicker of amber pride lighting up in his eyes.
Not always, kiddo.
The father smiled.
Even leaders make mistakes and bad decisions, but I try.
Well, you're not trying hard enough. Yesterday, 3 planes crashed, and you only found out about it today.
Came a shout from the kitchen.
Quiet, woman.
The husband called back.
Let me talk to my son in peace. And for the record, if I hadn't spent all day yesterday running around grocery stores with a mile-long shopping list not saying who wrote it, I'd have known everything in time.
Sure. Why don't you also explain the destabilization of the political situation in Ukraine? Or the early amnesty for 2 child murderers?
Lena.
The man roared, jumping from his chair.
Yes, Bogdan, did you want to tell me something?
She asked sweetly, appearing in the doorway, with a smile that promised nothing good. Apparently, the husband realized this just in time.
Just make dinner.
He said unconvincingly, sinking back into his chair.
Well, men.
The woman disappeared back into the kitchen, humming something softly. Bogdan rubbed the bridge of his nose.
So, Daniil, leaders and followers, that's how the world works. You're either one or the other. There's no third option.
But Dad, you once said there are people who go beyond those groups. Who are they? Please, I really want to know.
The man smiled.
They're the ones who think they're chosen. Yeah. Don't laugh. They see themselves as above everyone else. Enlighteners, mentors, you name it. They try to break free from life's chains, deeply believing in their destiny and that anything is possible in this world.
Daniil stared at his father, wide-eyed, holding his breath and afraid to move.
And in some ways, they're right.
Bogdan said thoughtfully.
Their intuition tells them that everything happening in their lives isn't random. In fact, it's probably quite the opposite. It's all connected. But that's why they don't want to be leaders or subordinates. They understand that the world isn't black and white.
But why?
Daniil asked.
They could become leaders and make life better for everyone.
His father shook his head with a mysterious smile.
Son, you're missing one small but important detail. Every leader is just a subordinate on a higher level. In other words, there's always someone above them.
Daniil blinked, then chuckled softly.
It's all so complicated.
He summed up after a moment.
So you have a boss too?
Of course I do.
Who is he?
The father tousled the boy's hair.
You don't know him. We studied together. But unlike me, he turned out to be a brilliant student.
Darling, don't say that.
His wife's voice called from the kitchen.
But it's true.
Bogdan replied.
And that's why, Daniel, you need to study hard so that one day you'll go even further than your father. And maybe you won't just lead this pathetic little planet called Earth, but something like Hamilton or even Genea.
The man pressed a button on the armrest, and a glowing star map unfolded in the air, filled with countless different planets. At the very bottom, a small blue dot blinked, labeled Earth.
I'll do my best, Dad.
The boy promised, gazing at the hundreds of glowing points on the screen.
I swear I will.
That's my boy. Now Daddy has to get back to work.
Bogdan patted Daniil on the shoulder and turned back to his desk, piled high with folders.
Dinner will be ready in 10 minutes.
Came his wife's voice from the kitchen. The man muttered in reply, slipping his glasses back on and sighing heavily. Because, no matter what anyone says, gods are people too. Kyiv, August 24, 2006.